Welcome to the Truth About Real Estate Investing show. My name is Erwin Cito. Today's guest loves to travel and invest in properties in several countries. He's originally from our nation's capital, but he's put down roots in Costa Rica. But before we get to Francois Lanthier, I'm still buzzing after my recent return from Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States, for meetings and checking out properties that are under management by a very large property management company. How large? They currently manage 2,000 single-family homes across America for their institutional clients who invest in, of course, landlord-friendly states. So no New York, no California. I've been told by insiders that institutions are rebalancing their portfolios away from commercial office and retail, even multifamily, as cap rates are being squeezed. And appreciate that if you have a pension or you're invested in a REIT, there's a good chance that you also are invested in these properties because again, even Canadian REITs are buying down in the States. Institutional demand is so big that the property manager that we're meeting with, they just signed a new investor client, a single investor client, also an institutional investor with 800 single family rentals to add their already $2,000 properties under management. Now we're in Atlanta, Georgia, and the PM already has 800 single family properties in and around Atlanta, Georgia. So who better to show us around investment properties at different stages? We visited a bank foreclosure sale. We visited a house that had been renovated post major fire. A couple of properties that are currently vacant. So they're in between tenant turnover. So they're in between tenants. So we saw before they've been renovated and after renovation. None of these were major renovations. I think they ranged from like 6,000 to like 19,000. So again, not major renovations, but that's what they're doing between tenant turnover. I honestly was like a kid in a candy store. I was so excited to see properties, and I would expect, and the properties that the property manager already manages, I'd love to own each of the houses that we saw. Each house had a gross rent yield of close to 8%. Gross rent yield is the annual rent divided by the cost of the house. For example, one of the houses that we saw would rent for over $25,000 per year, which is about $21,000 per month. But for the math, $25,000 per year, and it was worth about $320,000, located in the suburbs of Atlanta. In Atlanta's greater metropolitan area is about 6.2 million people. That's actually about the same. I think Toronto. So it's a little bit smaller than Toronto, but that's okay. Tim, who is a member of the PM team, he's like their boots on ground. He lives locally. He works locally. Other members from the PM company flew in from other parts of the country. But anyways, so Tim was showing us. He was one that was able to actually get us access to the properties because he, has the keys. Well, actually, don't need keys. That everything's using electronic keypads. But anyways. He shared with us how he inspects properties and he coordinates renovations when there's tenant turnover. He's sharing us with the timelines for these were generally, I think the longest renovation between tenants was going to be like 2 weeks. And that already gone over, but again, it's under 2 weeks. Wasn't that big a deal. The budgets, again, seemed reasonable in my experience. No basement suite, none of these properties, no basement suite conversions because none of these properties have basements. They're all built on a concrete pad. No garden suites needed since single family homes cash flow as is. So because there's already cash flow, there's no rent evictions or cash for keys needed since there's no rent control and the landlords honestly have rights. I shared my experience as a landlord in Ontario with our new American friends over dinner and drinks, and they stared at me with wide eyes like I was an alien. Needless to say, I'm excited to exit some of my real estate here and add some in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also planning site visits to Memphis and Texas as I will want properties there as well. Again, it's just diversification, economic fundamentals are there. If anyone's interested, I'm happy to share my research. I was actually thinking about putting together a report to share all my research, because I'm looking for a real estate gold mine just like everybody else is. If you're looking to learn more about investing away from long-term rentals in Ontario, our next IWIN meeting is Wednesday night, November 15th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have the CEO of Share, Andrew Kim, talking about investing in Florida, Texas, and Georgia. He'll share some sample properties as well. And the CEO of Pinnacle Wealth Brokers, Darvin Zerflu, who will be sharing. Both of them been on my podcast, so check them out if you haven't already. The point of the IWIN meeting is they will expand and go into more detail and get into some numbers about these properties and these deals. So back to Darvin of Pinnacle Wealth Brokers. He'll be specifically, I was looking for someone to speak on the subject of vacation properties and short-term rentals. So Darvin owns over 400 acres across, I think, 3 or 4 properties. So he'll be sharing about how the numbers break down on those. For those interested in joining, I have a link in the show notes. And also and for you who are on our email newsletter, you'll receive invites straight to your inbox. On to this week's show. We have Francois Lanthier, who has already exited his long-term rentals in Ontario a while ago and now lives in Costa Rica with his wife and teenage kids. Francois has investments in Brunswick, Alberta, Michigan, Florida, Dominican Republic, Dubai. I think he has some in Eastern Europe as well, or he's going there and looking to add some. And he's also on his way to Panama. It's like he's trying to buy up all the spaces on the monopoly board, and he's not going to leave any properties for the rest of us. On this week's show, he details what he thinks an ideal investment property is in Costa Rica, and also he's offering a 3-day real estate investing conference that Cherry, my wife, is speaking at in Costa Rica. So my family and I will be attending in person, and that's in late January. You can get more information there at www.investinpuravida.com. If you're not familiar, Pura Vida means like pure life. It is the catchphrase for all Costa Ricans. Again, investinpuravida.com. Link in the show notes or in your email inbox if you're on our newsletter. Francois shares a bunch of his research on where he invests and why, and his path to leaving Canadian tax residency. We do pay a lot of taxes here, and he's not wanted to pay anymore. He shares what his non-negotiables are on where to live. Also, I find, as a parent myself, I find it interesting to hear about what Francois's kids are doing. They're teenagers, so they're in high school. Actually, no, sorry. One is out of high school. Anyways, but the point is that they've left Ottawa and the kids are with them in Costa Rica, but they still are continuing in their education. I think you'll find it fascinating what he has to share about that. Please enjoy the show. Hi, Francois. What's keeping you busy these days?
Right now is making sure my bananas are ripe and looking at coconuts, things like that. So very different lifestyle. Just enjoying the beach and Pura Vida life right now.
And you're enjoying this in southwestern Ontario. Where do you find bananas around here?
Yes, so not in Canada. Obviously, it's in Costa Rica right now. So yep, I'm actually even trimming my cacti hedge or cactus hedge. stuff I've never done before.
Okay. Wait, is that naturally forming, or did someone put that there? Like hedges or cacti?
Cacti, yeah, it's naturally forming, but of course you can plant them and cultivate them like a cedar hedge, where you can have huge hedges of cactuses or cacti, but they grow like crazy, so you have to trim them. Which I didn't know. I thought these things didn't grow very much.
Yeah, I didn't know you trim them.
Yeah,
because they're not really like it's not really like branches or leaves.
It is.
I know the needles are the leaves, but
chop them, and yeah, it's very, very messy, very juicy.
You'll have to send me a picture. Take a picture on your Instagram.
I will for sure.
And wait, hang on. You have bananas and coconuts on your property?
Not me, no, but it's just keeping an eye on the neighbors. They have big plantations, so it's very nice.
How big? How big is the plantation?
Some have a few hundred acres of bananas and different fruit and vegetables. So,
and you have an agreement to you're allowed to help yourself?
Well, if they fall over the fence, yeah, you can. So too bad.
So don't trim those branches.
No, those I want to keep. Yes.
Okay, where can I get pictures? Where do you post these pictures? I need to see this.
Probably on my Instagram. I haven't posted enough of that. I've shown mostly the beach, but I need to show more the fruit and the wildlife here.
All right, let's promote your Instagram because you're about to post these pictures. Where can people find your Instagram?
Yes, so it's at wine_and_real_estate. So wine and real estate.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, right now it's mostly beaches and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna start showing that. I didn't think about it.
Everyone's got beach pictures in Ontario. No, I'm kidding.
I know. Yeah, beach is more normal, but yeah, I'll show the unusual stuff.
Awesome. So how long you been living? How long you been living in Costa Rica?
So it's been 3 weeks at the time of this recording, so not very long.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's more than most people take a vacation. So
yes, that's it. Yeah, now we're
just
beyond.
dissing everybody. And then how long you're staying there? 8 months. Sorry, you said 8 months.
Yes, yeah, 8 months. I am traveling during that time, but not back to Canada, like Panama. I'm going to possibly Dubai, places like that.
Wait, didn't you just get back from Dubai?
I did, but I need to go back because it's too amazing not to go back. So it's in the plans.
Okay, well, we'll get to all these. Okay, so hang on first. Let's just before we move on from Costa Rica. What brings you to Costa Rica?
Various things. So lifestyle, number one, it's the country of pura vida, which means pure life. And it is so true in everything. Like the food is delicious. The weather is very pleasant. Right now it's rainy season and it's beautiful in the morning until about 1 or 2 p.m. Then it rains for a little bit and it's so lush and green and it's just amazing. And then for real estate, investment opportunities are enormous here. There's all kinds of construction and projects, and I sell real estate here. So why not mix my love of real estate, nature? I've always liked gardening, so that's kind of why I mentioned all the plants, and just nice weather year round. The water is filled with minerals. It's just a nice, calming atmosphere. You come back refreshed.
And then where do you like? Where do you recommend for living and investing in Costa Rica?
So it really depends.
It's still a pretty big country, is it not?
Yeah, it's about the size of New Brunswick. So it's not that big, actually.
Right.
But it's very mountainous. So there's huge mountains and volcanoes. So if you want to get around, it takes quite a bit of time to drive across the country. It's not like the province of New Brunswick with a big highway. You can't really go that quick. Maybe you want from one end to the other, well, maybe it's a 10-hour drive, while New Brunswick would be 2-3 hours. So it's not as modern. And of course, with the big hills and 5.5 million people. So it's a bigger population than New Brunswick. But it varies a lot. There's 21 microclimates. So if you live in the mountains, it's cooler. It's spring year round. It's always around 25 degrees. And that's where they grow coffee. Where I am, I chose the warmer part, so the northern part, which as a Canadian, the further north, usually the colder it gets. Here it's the opposite. The more north you are, the hotter it is, and the more dry as well. So anything south has a lot more rain, longer rainy season, more lush. I chose a drier area. I just feel safer. I don't know this country very well yet. So there's less flooding and just less rain. So even rainy season, I mean, it's a few hours here and there, not even every day. So it's amazing. And it's close to all the conveniences, like a international airport. We have Price Smart, which is like Costco, but it's owned by Costco, and Walmart and highways and paved roads, which is not everywhere in Costa Rica. There's many areas where it's all dirt roads. So I would not want to be there right now. If you're more adventurous, if you're on a holiday, yes, but living here every single day on that dirt road for months, that gets tiring. So here it's more kind of modern, but we have all the nature and all that as well.
And then, so How well do you know the area then? Like, are you there for eight months to experiment, or you plan on bouncing around, or you're gonna lay
Yeah,
down
no, I plan
roots?
on. I know the province where I am, Guanacaste. So there's 7 provinces in the country, and Guanacaste is the most northern province, so the hottest and driest one. At Guanacaste, I know fairly well now. What I want to get to know eventually is explore the other provinces when it's appropriate. But I also like to travel, so this is a nice home base. I get to fly out, like I was saying, to Panama in December and maybe in March, Dubai and other things. So I chose it as a home base. I do want to explore, but I'm gonna live in Guanacaste, where I'm staying right now.
So where are you staying right now? Do you own the property, or you were just renting?
Yeah, it's my house. I've owned it for a few years. It's in Playas del Coco. So if anybody knows Tamarindo, we're about an hour north of Tamarindo. So we're closer again to the airport, about 30-minute drive at the most. And there's no traffic here, which is amazing.
Hmm.
I'm from Ottawa, so I can't complain compared to Toronto and GTA.
Yeah,
But the traffic was getting heavy. I mean, the light rail train and all that didn't really work very well. So
that's so
here, the
sad.
worst is a cow crossing or iguanas or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So it's actually fun. You're like, oh, something new crossing the road, and there's never any rush here.
Amazing. No, so you mentioned you sell real estate. So what do you recommend for like? It's two questions then. What do you recommend for investment? What do you recommend for living in?
Yeah, so
Or is
those
the
are
answer the same?
that depends. Like for me, I moved into an investment property. It was a short-term rental. And my wife and I and the kids, we weren't ready to commit to a bigger house and more money and to something else. So we just moved in. But for investments, it's best if you do, there's a few opportunities. But number one, I'd say is construction. There's a big shortage of properties. There's lots, but like well thought out properties. There's a lot of little condos that exist. It's more villas, like a detached house with what we would call a tiny house in Canada, or here they call it a casita or a cabana. So if you buy land and build those, people snap those up like crazy. They don't stay on the market. There's never enough. So there's huge opportunities for development for investors. And you have two incomes. You got the main house and then the small house. And even the main house, you could design it that it locks off. You can have like 2 units, and if somebody builds that, they're gonna do very well. I'm working on a development here, probably 60 units, just like that, and I think that's gonna be a great product.
So the units, they're going to be essentially like tiny homes. Each unit is a tiny home.
No, no. So there's a main house, like 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 bathrooms, whatever you want, carport, a swimming pool. And then usually in the back or front yard, depending on the layout, then there's a tiny house. But that tiny house is usually 1 or even sometimes 2 bedrooms. And this came about because a lot of rich locals, the Ticos, as they call themselves, have staff. So they could have been caretakers, but Canadians, Americans are actually flipping that model around and they rent it out and they don't have live-in staff. They just
Hmm.
get people to come and make money out of their house.
Hmm.
So they get to enjoy the house, relax, and get a rental income. And then when they leave, they can rent the whole place out, the 2 units or
Hmm.
three, depending.
Sorry, you mentioned 60 units. Units of what?
Yes, 60 houses. So
Oh,
there's a large, like a little subdivision that I'm working on right now. And there could be up to 60 houses plus the casitas and all the stuff that comes with it.
hmm,
Could be like a gated community of 60 homes.
fantastic. And then how does financing work? And like land title and all sorts of things. Like here we take it for granted in Canada, North America. Well, I can't say for Mexico, but here, at least here in Canada, like our land title system is pretty tight. I know it can be a
Yeah.
little outdated technologically wise, but otherwise it's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
What's it like in
So
Costa Rica?
very similar here. Because I speak French, I have invested in Quebec. I think you've had guests from Quebec as well or investing
Not
there.
many. We don't like,
No.
yeah, not
So
many.
in Canada, most people know the common law, which applies to
Yeah.
all of Canada except for Quebec. Quebec has the civil code, and the civil code is very much like the Napoleon Code, which is what we have here in Costa Rica. And if you're buying in California, they have the civil code, and in Ireland as well. So, I mean, there's many countries that have that. The differences are instead of a lawyer, you're dealing with a notary, and a notary is a lawyer, really. It's a lawyer that specializes in real estate. And then you do get a deeded title, so it's yours. And it's very clear. They call it a plano cadastro, which is like a survey, just like in Canada. And there's a number, like a property identification number in due form. The only place where it differs is if you want to be waterfront. So the first 50 meters is public land. No one can own that piece of land except for old concessions. Like if you own before the laws came about in the late 70s, the first 50 meters is for everyone. All beaches are public here, which is amazing. And then the first 150 meters, so from 50 to 200, that's what's called concession land. So you rent it from the government. So there you would not get an actual deeded lot. So that's why most people buy about 200 meters and beyond from the water, which is great anyway, because on the waterfront, you've got the salt and stuff eating away the house. So you want to be a bit further anyway and go enjoy the beach when you want to.
And sorry, and then with the 60 unit subdivision, is it like on the water? Does it have a view of the water? No. Does these things matter?
Yeah, they do, but I mean, here it's different. Most people want water views because it's very hilly. So a lot of people want to be in the hills looking at the water, but not near the water because, as I said, it's public land. So there could be a party at 8 p.m. and you have no control. So really, if you want a nice lifestyle, you want to be a little bit further from the water, maybe a 5-minute walk, not far, but just not right at it. And then you can moor your boat, do whatever you want as well. So that development will be a bit further, maybe a 10-minute walk from the beach, which is great. Or you can rent a golf cart. A lot of people have golf carts everywhere. That does cause traffic jam. Golf cart.
Wait. Golf cart traffic jams?
Yeah, it happens. People lining up and they're going to get a coffee and there's all golf carts everywhere and a very different life. Or 4x4s, like little ATVs and things. So
awesome. Do you have a golf cart or an ATV? Because I've been to Hako and like I've been on the ATV tours and it's lovely. Okay, it's lovely to go through the rainforest on an ATV.
Yes.
And, so with these, so with the subdivision, for example, let's use it as an example. Like, what does it cost?
Yeah, so the piece of land is actually not that expensive. So it's about $2 million US to buy. Mm-hmm. And then each property, once they're done, really depends. Like we're so early, but I think they're going to go for around $500,000 US each. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to be huge. As I mentioned earlier, they're probably 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plus a casita in the backyard. But once they're done, they're going to be worth a lot more. So I bought one last year for $375,000. And my neighbor just sold for $650,000. So there's some huge construction projects here in Coco, where I live, Playa del Coco, and it's causing some massive appreciation. Of course, don't bank on it. It's never the thing to do, but I mean, it's a nice cherry on the cake here. So.
Okay, well, let's continue with the $500,000 house example. So that comes with a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and plus a tiny home, casita,
a little pool. It's a very small pool, like a diving pool or something. Nothing huge, but most people want that just to stay fresh, and then they actually go to the ocean nearby.
That doesn't sound bad. It's $500,000 for a house, and you get a separate tiny home. Because tiny homes here are like $250,000, $300,000 to make.
Well, that's
on a
it.
concrete pad
Construction.
with no garage. Like,
Yeah, it's nuts. And it would be in a gated community. So there's a gate. This will not be an HOA, so not a homeowners association. It's
right.
more you pay like a common fee just for the electric gate, and that's it. Everything else is public. So there's garbage service, city water, or town water, town electricity as well.
Okay.
And
so
fiber optics. The internet's
nice.
great.
You get fiber optic in Costa Rica. I don't get fiber optic here in Oakville, where I am in Oakville.
It's everywhere here. It's crazy. So, and your most reception is quite good pretty much everywhere. Even in the jungle, you're like, oh yeah, I'm streaming live on Instagram from the jungle.
And then how much would the house in the casita rent for?
So it really depends. Again, high season, low season. High season, I'd say probably $250 US per night for the main house. The casita, you're gonna get less because it's probably more like a studio, so maybe $125 a night.
What about like okay, and then what about like an annual number? I don't do short-term rentals myself personally, so what would like the annual number be then?
Well, let me do some quick math. 250 plus.
Yeah. Because it's not going to be rented at $250 a night, $125 a night for 365 days.
That's it. So you're probably going to bring in about $80,000 US per year, I would say, with the house. And then, of course, you've got to remove all your expenses and stuff. And then you could provide extra services like a golf cart, $8,000 or $10,000. You park one in the driveway and you rent it for more. You can charge other services like airport pickup, drop off, the transfers. There's many ways to maximize your investment there.
And then what are your expenses then? What's the cost to operate this house?
Yeah, so operating is not that expensive. Property taxes are, this one's over $375. So it's 0.25% of the property value up to $375. And then it's 0.55. So it's a low property taxes, maybe $700 a year.
That's it?
Yes, very cheap. There's no snow removal. There's really not much going on. They do garbage. And then water. So you got to pay your water bill. For a house like that, you'll probably pay around $40 a month. Water is very cheap here. Really, really cheap.
The taxes are so cheap. There are no hospitals and schools, fire departments, police.
Yes, yeah. There's fire hydrants, fire departments, police, hospitals. Here it's like a two-tier system. So there's private and public. And yeah, you got pretty much everything. I mean, you are in a developing country, so it's not the same. But there's a lot of medical tourism. So a lot of people come for the services. Very modern on the private side. Public, depends. And then internet, you'll pay around $65 a month for quite a good internet. It's all US dollars again, so not sure the exchange. And then electricity, that is expensive. Electricity, maybe $300 a month, $300 or $400, depending on the season.
Is that because you're running a lot of air conditioning, or is this because rates are high?
Air conditioning and rates are high. 99% of the electricity here is renewable. So it's solar,
right.
Wind power, all kinds of things. So it's very green. And yeah, they charge accordingly.
Right, because a lot of green tech isn't very efficient.
No,
it's green. It's not efficient in terms of cost, but
exactly. So it's not cheap, but I mean, you may feel good about it, and yeah. So there's that. Property insurance, you probably pay around. It's very cheap here, maybe $800 a year.
Really? Natural is it because there's like limited natural disasters?
Very limited, especially where I'm buying. Very, like I said, very little flooding, very like earthquakes. They're very minor. There's no hurricanes. You're not like in Florida. In Florida, you pay a fortune because of hurricanes and stuff.
And Tornado Alley in the US. And
that's it. Here, there's none of that because of the mountains. The volcanoes are very far, so they're not affecting you. So super cheap. Most people actually don't even get insurance here. I would recommend to get it, but it's not a thing locally. Most people don't insure things, even cars. They only insure them one way, like if somebody dies or something. So very different culture. That's probably why it's cheap.
Do people not have mortgages? That's why they don't have house mortgage. They don't have house insurance.
Yeah, most of the market is not mortgage. It's a cash market for the most part.
Oh, okay. So sorry, are people buying these houses then cash? 500 grand US? That's
what I'm talking about, but the locals, yes. So it's a very stable economy because very few people have mortgages. Foreigners do, locals don't as much anyway.
Okay.
Which is great. So there's not much like variation. It's cash. So people don't, speculation and all that is not the same.
Okay. So most investors I know have mortgages.
Yes.
So are mortgages available?
They are, yes. So that's why new build is very interesting. Usually the builder will offer financing. So this project, when it goes ahead, I will offer, and my partners, 50%. So it's a low LTV, 50% loan to value, usually around 8.5% interest. So it's not cheap. And it's 5 years. After 5 years, you got to pay it off or get a local mortgage.
No option to renew. It's just 5 years, it's over.
That's it, because it's builder financing. But then you can go, I know quite a few lenders, and then they can offer you a mortgage on the new value. So as I mentioned earlier, let's say you buy it for $500,000 and at the end it's worth 650. Let's just say it's 650. The new lender will offer you 60, 70, maybe I've had up to 80% of the new value. So it's not a burr, but you're pulling some money out and you're getting a new mortgage on the property. But I always plan for 50 to 60. Beyond that, it depends.
Are Canadians able to build up credit in order to get like a better mortgage, Schedule A mortgage?
No, because that's not really a thing here. So most mortgages are more like commercial. So it's the building that qualifies, not you. So they actually send an appraiser, and that's what qualifies. You don't need to have an income or anything left. They check it, but that's not what makes you qualify.
Interesting.
That's why the loan to value is lower.
And then what would you recommend? So say someone wants to exit in 5 years after the builder financing is over. Yes. Do you have an idea what the property's worth?
Yeah, so as I said, I think those at 500 will be worth at least 650, if not more, because there's right now there's the Cacique Peninsula, so it's the Playa del Coco. It's like a crescent-shaped beach, and at one end there's a long peninsula that was bought by the owner of AOL. So I know that's dating, that's really old, America Online, but it still exists. So the owner bought the whole peninsula and is building a Waldorf Astoria resort. The houses there start at $5 million US, like that's rock bottom pricing. And we're a 5-minute drive from there. So we're already seeing an influx, like there's new stores opening. There's a marina that's been announced. There's all kinds of things happening here that will boost the values of these properties. So in 5 years, I think prices will be insane, because we saw the same in a town about 100 kilometers from here, and everything doubled and tripled in value once they built all that.
So I felt bad about asking all these investor questions, because my next question was going to be, who should be buying these properties? Are these for self-use? Are they for investment? Are they for both?
I'd say more investment. So more investors, people that may want to flee winter for a month or two and then rent for the rest of the year. Maybe come during the summer. It's actually quite nice during summer here. It's very quiet and very green and lots to do still. And activities are less expensive off season. If you come during high season, it's not a cheap country here. So I'd
Okay.
say, yeah, investors for sure.
So what's the temperature like? What's living like in the summer? Because not many people think to go that far south for the
I
winter.
know.
But cottages
They
are expensive.
Well, that's it. Summer is actually cooler here. So summer is more 28 to 34 degrees plus
Yeah.
humidity. So that's cool for here. While if you come during March, like March break, it's more 35 to 45 plus humidity. So
Oh, that's
summer is
good.
quite nice. Evenings are like 24. So it's quite pleasant. A little bit of rain once in a while, but the rain here is warm, so you're never cold. I mean, I actually stepped in the street the other day. It was a bit flooded, and it was
Mhm.
like stepping in a hot tub. It was crazy.
Okay, selfish question. When Cherry and I are supposed to be there in January, what's the weather like?
So it's the best time of year, in the 30s, the low 30s, and drier. So because there's no rain, so it's going to be a lot drier.
Interesting.
So just really a good time to be here, kind of like Florida, and it doesn't rain for about 6 or 7 months. So,
Interesting.
yep,
Because for example, a lot of our friends who moved to Florida, a lot of them come back in the summer because they say it's too hot. They move
it
back to
is.
Ontario.
Yeah,
Right,
here
but what
when
you're
it's
telling
hot,
me, because what you're
it's
saying, it sounds kind of
March.
four season. It sounds like a four season destination. There's not really many
Yeah,
four season destinations out there.
no, the only time I would say is normally September and October is extremely rainy, but I'm here right now. This is mid-October. So far, I mean, like I said, a few hours here and there, not even every day. We've had one day where it really poured, but otherwise it's very pleasant. So
Right.
depends. I mean, if you got more time, if you're planning outdoor stuff, you got to be flexible. Early, everything starts very early. Like school starts at 7 a.m. People are out at 5 a.m., 5:30. It's very different.
I didn't expect that for a Caribbean country.
Yeah, it's slow, but they're early. I don't know how quickly they get things done, but it starts very early
Very interesting. Very interesting.
because it's near the equator. We're 8 degrees on the planet, like to the equator. So the sunset and sunrise are almost always the same. It's around like sunrise around 5:15 p.m., sunset around 5:30, and then winter 6 p.m., 6 a.m. That's about it. 12-hour days.
That's not so bad. This is predictable.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite nice. I find it relaxing. You know your day, and it's the same almost every day. There's no daylight savings, none of that stuff.
Fascinating. So how you liking it?
I love it so far.
How long you staying?
So 8 months. And if, as a Canadian, if you come here, you have 180 days on your passport, so visa-free entry, and then you can leave for a day and then get 180 days again. But if you want to drive, you need to exit every 90 days. So right now, I'm exiting every 90 days.
How far you have to drive?
It's an hour, about an hour and 40 minutes to Nicaragua. You could just go there. There's buses that do that. But personally, I chose to actually fly out. I'm going to Panama. It's another one of my markets I'm interested in. So I want to go see it
Mm-hmm.
and then just plan trips around it.
Right.
And then when you get residency, you don't have to. But anyway, that's about a year to 2 years process.
So where else do you have properties?
Yes. So, well, in Canada, so in New Brunswick, Alberta, I have properties in Michigan, in Florida, in Dominican Republic, Dubai, and here Costa Rica, and then I'm looking at Eastern Europe and South America as well.
Eastern Europe, like Ukraine?
Yeah, well, not Ukraine, but I guess you could get some good deals right now. But no, bad joke. But I would say more like Albania, Bulgaria. There's some great properties there. Romania, Georgia, everything that's IA or A.
None of those are any of those on the euro? Any of those European Union countries?
Yeah, some are using the euro. Some are Eurozone, some are non. It varies. Personally, I don't really care about that. It's actually maybe an advantage to not be in the euro because then you're not tied to that. And the Schengen area as well. You're not, if you go there, like Georgia, as a Canadian, you can stay there 365 days and then you leave for 1 day or 2 days if it's a year with more days. And then you're back and you get stamped again. You don't need to immigrate. You could live there as a perpetual traveler if you wanted to.
So you just spend your life trying to collect places in different places?
Yeah. Well, because there's advantages for business. Like some bank accounts in Georgia, you put your money in and you can earn 12% interest on just a checking account. So there's opportunities a lot of people don't in their local currency, the Georgian lari. So it's been quite stable. It's about half an American dollar, 52 cents.
That's crazy. That's
yeah,
like,
just park the
that's
money
like
there.
bad second mortgage money. 12%.
It is. Yeah.
And you're going to do this?
Yes.
All right.
And if you have a company there, you pay 1% income tax. So it's a very alluring country. And they've pretty much invented wine about 8,000 years ago. So sounds like a nice place to me.
Why such variety? Why be in so many different places in terms of your investments? Can you clarify your investments as well? Like, do you own a property, like it's all yours, like thing, or like you own shares in something, like a REIT, or how is your ownership?
Yeah, usually it's about 50%. I do a lot of joint ventures, so I find other investors that are like-minded and want to partner to invest in these properties.
And they're local.
So it varies. Some I own myself with my wife, some with partnerships. So why so much diversity? Well, look at the world we're living in. So if you put all your eggs in one basket, what happens if Canada gets attacked for some reason? It's gone. No, but I mean, we are
Our
very
friends
close
to the
to
south
Russia.
carry big sticks.
Yes, but we are very close to Russia, and I mean, there is internal like fighting. I was in Ottawa with the trucker convoy and stuff, and it almost felt like the beginning of a civil war. So you never know. I mean, I hope none of that happens again, but whether you're for or against, there's some scary stuff and currencies as well. So I don't want all my money in Canadian dollars or American dollars or colones in Costa Rica or pesos, or I want them all. So if one goes down, I just move on to the next. So that's a personal decision, but I like more variety and it's more fun.
I have like 5 bank accounts I have trouble keeping track of. You have like 12 currencies to track.
Yes. Oh yeah, I have way more than 5 bank accounts, but anyway, that's another story.
But you do have you have boots on ground partners in most of these properties.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you need to. I mean, like Dubai is super far, and where I am right now, it's a 14-hour time difference. So when you call there, I mean, it's the next day over and over. So it doesn't make it easy.
And then what is your investing in Dubai? Because I hear Dubai come up often.
Yes.
I often hear it's one of the best places to be investing.
It really is. World-class city. I've never seen a place so clean in my life ever. Everybody said it was clean, and when I went, I was shocked. It's crazy how clean it is.
So investment's pretty awful to be caught littering.
Yeah, no, they're like, yeah, I guess they cut off your hand, but it might not be a bad idea elsewhere to apply that. So I'm a bit of an extremist. So Dubai, what's good? Pre-construction, they call it off-plan. So you can, because of Islamic law, a lot of builders will offer payment plans without interest. So in Islam, if you know the religion,
to have interest-free loans.
Yeah, but I mean, you do very well there. You're able to buy places. Sometimes they have like an 8-year payment plan, so 5 years up to the construction, and then you get the keys. And then you have 3 more years to keep paying the property. or sell it or do whatever you want, rent it, something like that, which is great. And as a foreigner, you can get a mortgage at that point because it's now built. So you can get a 60% loan to value mortgage in Dubai. And that's going to be traditional, look, with interest and amortization, things like that. Development. So a lot of people do assignments. They buy entire floors of buildings and then sell off other units. There's so many things you can do. Open a business. You pay no income tax as a person, so it's really great.
How is Dubai? Are they still like a growing country? They're still drawing lots of immigration and investment?
Yes, all the top talents, you go there and it's all the people with PhDs and very educated population and extremely wealthy. Like stuff we find in Canada that's a luxury there is basic amenities. All the bathrooms in shopping centers have butlers, people constantly washing them. It's not like Canada at all anymore. People have like chauffeur, and they have maids and nannies, and very different population.
Yeah,
and
they're able to get cheap labor there from neighboring countries.
Absolutely, which in Canada you can't. So that's why when I'm there, I'm like, well, there's no way I could hire all those people. I'd pay more than what I earn. So it's crazy.
Downside of having these big oceans to cross.
Yes,
but it doesn't mean no one attacks us.
No.
So you've visited all these places. What is it about Costa Rica that makes you stay there?
Yeah, here it's the people, the Latin culture. I just find it very nice and welcoming, and it's delicious. I like food, so it's a big thing. There's great food in Dubai as well. I just like it, and I've always enjoyed Spanish, so I started learning it when I was 14. I speak French, so Spanish is very close. Just a nice culture, the beach, the relaxed atmosphere. Dubai is not relaxing. It's like Toronto on speed. So it's a lot busier and much bigger, like highways and just construction 24/7. Here it's super chill and just enjoy. You can watch a plant grow and don't feel bad about it. So
right. So it just fits your pace. Your pace of
yes,
life. What I understand in Dubai is like it's big brands, big vehicles. Louis Vuitton, Gucci everywhere.
And consumerism. So I'm more of a minimalist. So Costa Rica, you can't get a lot of things. So you have to be a minimalist no matter what. So it's a lot harder to find certain things, while Dubai is a consumer culture. Right. So I don't mind some consumerism a few months every year, but I do like the minimalist lifestyle.
Right. Maybe Oakville's not for you then, because the Costco's just down the road, and that's like the opposite of a minimalist.
I know, which we have here too, but I mean, it's a mini Costco. You would laugh when you'd see it, but no lineups, nothing. It's just nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So you covered so many things. Is Panama going to be a big piece of your investment journey?
I'm really hoping, yes, because it's a tax haven. So that's my thing. I love tax havens. Costa Rica is not it's not a tax haven. It's not a low tax country, but there's many potential benefits. Panama, yes, I think there's some great affinities. In Latin America, it's the country with the most banks and all kinds of terms. It's very consumer oriented, so very modern. They have a huge mall, like almost like West Edmonton Mall, which you'd never know in Latin America. It's not a common thing. So I mean, lots of conveniences. It's a great place to invest. It's growing, and the canal makes it a very stable economy as well. So we'll see. Maybe because it's more for my kids. I mean, the beach life is great, but I want them to also have city living, more connections and stuff. So Panama might be like a few months a year. We go there and live in the city and then come back to our beach home and just enjoy life.
And then, sorry, your kids, are they with you in Costa Rica right now?
Yeah, they're 17 and 19. So yeah, they're here, and we brought our cat as well on the plane, and that's it. 4 suitcases, the cat and the kids. That's all that's left.
So What are they doing for school?
So my son was done high school. He's 19, so he's studying online in IT. So you can do it anywhere as long as there's internet. And our daughter's doing grade 12 online, and then she wants to do real estate with me. So she's already helping me out. We've been to a few showings and listings. And
So your daughter, grade 12 online, what is that through? Is that a Canadian program she's taking or something
yes.
local?
Yeah, she's finishing grade 12 in Ontario. She's actually heading back in early 2024 to graduate with her friends. That is her choice. She could finish it online completely. There's local schools, but high school ends at grade 11 here, which is again similar to the Quebec school. And then you go to college and then university. So we didn't want to do that. I mean, not at that age.
How does for folks who missed it, you are originally from Ontario, specifically Ottawa.
Yes.
How does a student in Ontario take an online school?
So you can choose to be homeschooled. That's what they call it. And then you go to the school board and then they issue a letter saying you're going to be homeschooled. And then you're exiting the school board and the whole system. And then you can enter, there's TVO ILC. It's an online high school. Usually it's more for adults going back to school, but the system's there. So if your child is over 16, they can do that online and choose to be sort of emancipated in a way. And with COVID, I mean, our kids were online for years. So like, what's the difference here?
Right. So she's grade 12, so there was no option to do grade 12 in Costa Rica.
No, because it doesn't exist.
Right. It's all fascinating. And then your son, he's doing it, is the IT course, is it Google? Is it Harvard? What is it?
Yeah, with Google, he's doing, he's actually not doing like a bachelor's degree or anything. It's more courses and applied techniques and stuff. So yeah, it's, we have a lot of friends in IT and most have said it's more experience than education right now. A lot of people graduate from university and they have trouble getting hired. So we told him, well, get the experience then, just do it.
Can you name it? I'm sure some people would be interested.
I'd have to ask him. Sorry, he's an adult, so I told him study, do well, good luck. So I'd have to look at what he's doing, but it's a lot of it's actually free, and then you pay for certificates. And he's got a lot of experience now with like full stack programming, backend website stuff, AI, pixel art, other things I don't understand.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
because I believe Harvard, I believe they made all of their online specifically for something around computers, either coding or software engineering. I believe they made it all online available for like really, really cheap. And if you wanted the I'm calling it diploma. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was only like $350. If you wanted some sort of official document to say you completed it, it was like very, very cheap.
It really is. And that's what he's doing. He went to Ottawa U last year. It didn't go super well. So we told him, well, let's take this opportunity, stop it, and try something else. And now he's doing very well. So, and what they were teaching was old code that's not even being used anymore. And all kinds of things. I'm like, that's useless. So sorry, Ottawa U, but no, wasn't great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So sorry, how long has your daughter been doing her high school online? Just recently?
No, just since September, so a month and 3/4.
Mm-hmm. And how's it going?
Great. Yeah, she's doing 90s, 95s, and it's in French, so it's available. A lot of people don't know this, but in Ontario, there's French school boards and all that. So the whole online school is available in French. So she's taking her grade 12 in French to continue her French education.
She can't do it in Spanish?
No, she's not that good. That was another issue here. She'd need a fluency test. I'm like, yep, good luck with that one. So it's not going to work.
Oh, she need a fluency test to go to school locally?
Yes. So if you go to a local school, they're bilingual, but you still need to be able to understand some Spanish and write some. And there's private schools that are English only, but I mean, I personally am not for that. I more learn the local language, but she wasn't ready. So
This is cool.
yeah.
Because I'm sure many people are wondering how they have a slice of what you're living, right? At least be away for the winter months. Like ever since the pandemic, I think it's two things because people were locked down and didn't enjoy that. And the other thing is a lot of people made a lot of money during the pandemic. So now they can afford it. You know what I mean? Some might just be really equity rich, but still they can always exit and take profits and use that money to move away. Yeah. We all know Rob Brake is down there too. No, you're there.
Yeah, he's about 100 kilometers from me, so very close.
Mm-hmm. That's super cool. And then I don't know where to go because you named so many countries. Where would you like to go next?
Well, we can kind of probably end this with how can people do this? Well, the simplest thing is just do it. I'm sorry, but a lot of people ask how.
Yeah.
How do you do anything? You inquire, you book flights, you go, you start doing things. So if your dream is to be in Belize or Panama or Costa Rica or Mexico, wherever, France, Italy, just make some inquiries and make your dream happen. Like stop. I'm more into doing and not like being like paralyzed by analysis. What's the worst that's going to happen? Here, worst case, we eat more mangoes. There's 3 mango seasons. We'll just eat mangoes. They're free. So, I mean, of course you need to plan, but you also need to take action. A lot of people talk about things for years and they never do it. So I'm more into just do it.
Right. Book a flight.
Yes.
Yeah. You got to start by just trying it. See if it's worth the effort.
Rent an Airbnb, come and stay for 2 months, 3 months, do slow travel. That's my thing now. I don't like going a place for a short time. I want to go and spend a few months, see if I like it. Are people annoying? Is it noisy? What are your non-negotiables? Can you live without Greek yogurt? I have trouble without it, so I had to find my source of Greek yogurt. And I mean, there's things in your life you don't realize that you need. Do you need your feather pillow? Do you need, I don't know, a certain type of car, computer, or something, a gym, whatever. So what are your non-negotiables? And then what place fits that model? And then go and try it before you buy, obviously. You don't just buy a place and then hope it works.
This is all interesting stuff. And then how are you're offering courses, workshops? What is it?
Yes. Yeah. So I actually help people realize their dreams like that of investing internationally. So I call it offshore REI, and you can offshore your life as well if you want or not. I mean, a lot of people want just a winter home or a getaway of some kind, and also diversification. So I offer a 12-week program where I work with people and I help them think about what are their non-negotiables, like the list I just mentioned. For me, I need potable water. So I don't like countries where you can't drink the tap water. I did mention one country in there. So personally, anyway, I prefer when you can just turn the tap on and drink the water. I find it's very telling. That's one non-negotiable for me. Banking, how are you welcomed as a foreigner? Some countries don't like Canada or the US anymore as much. Some countries actually ban Americans from opening bank accounts there. So you have to be ready for that.
Who doesn't like Canadians?
So like Dubai, for example, it's harder if you're Canadian and American because of reporting laws. So reporting requirements, parts of Europe do not want American or Canadian money anymore. Those are things that are coming. So I'm helping people realize that North America is not the center of the universe anymore. It's more Asia, where I guess you're from, or your ancestors are from. So you have to be ready
to evade communism.
Yes, but many countries
just teaching our kids about it this morning.
No, yeah, well, that's it. But I mean, Latin America has the doors wide open, and they do very well in Asia, and they have passports that allow them to go to countries that we can't as Canadians or Americans.
You mentioned it earlier. What's the currency of Costa Rica? Not the US dollar.
No, well, they use the US dollar for real estate and like big purchases, real estate and cars, or you can pay using the local currency, the colon, COLON, or colones, plural. So it's actually not a bad currency. It's been quite stable and becoming stronger and stronger lately. It's actually kind of hurting the American dollar buying power locally. So, I mean, it's something okay. Panama, their currency is pegged at half of an American dollar, which is nice. You always know what it's worth. So it's important to know those things when you're investing internationally, and that's something else I cover in my course.
Do you know why Costa Rica is it culturally that they do two currencies, or is that a government?
It's because for probably 20, 30 years, their currency was way too volatile. So the colones, the local currency went up and down, up and down. So the locals, and I'd say 75% of people that immigrate here are Americans. So they kind of, in a way, imposed the American dollar. It just became normal. Kind of like in Mexico, you go there and they take a lot of US dollars, Dominican, all those countries. It's kind of a dual currency.
That's funny. You mentioned that because the colones was volatile, people didn't want and chose the US dollar.
Yes.
It's kind of like jab at my cryptocurrency listeners.
Yeah, well, that's it. But then there's other countries that don't want the American dollar. So there's that. Like it really depends where you are, what's the culture.
Fascinating.
So yeah.
I'm a geek, so I just find these things interesting. Like, for example, like I've had a close personal friend live through 2 currency collapses while I lived in Moscow.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
And so if you live in Moscow, would you like to be earning your wages in rubles or US dollars?
Yeah.
Right? I know that's what the bank
rubles.
and what the government wants you to do, but there's like what protects you and your family. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Maybe you prefer Canadian, maybe you prefer euros or Chinese yuan. But my point is, like, a lot of places people don't even want their own currency. So
no, well, that's it. So it's actually kind of shameful sometimes. And yeah, so some people don't realize that. Like Argentina, I mean, their money went up, down. Colombia. So you got to watch out when you're investing in those countries.
Yeah. Reminds us that we're lucky here.
Yes.
Nobody wants our currency, but at least it's stable.
Yeah, it's compared to those, absolutely, it's very stable. I mean, there's more stable than that, but absolutely, it's one of the stable ones.
Interesting. And then what about the January event that you're hosting?
Yes,
what's that about?
So for those that want to learn about how to invest in Costa Rica in January, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, it's called Invest in Pura Vida. So if you look it up, investinpuravida.com, it's a 3-day conference where we're talking about everything you need to invest here. We're going to have all the legal teams, accounting in Costa Rica and in Canada as well. We have none other than Jerry Chan joining us. So that's going to be awesome. And we're talking about like financing, how to make it happen. I touched on it very briefly, but there's a million other ways. You could use life insurance. You could use RSPs, TFSAs. The list is crypto if you wanted to. The list is endless. So yeah, it's a 3-day event, a lot of fun. And last year, we hosted one in March 2023, and we had about 50 investors. So we're expecting about the same. It's not a huge event. It's more like a mastermind kind of. And we do a lot of fun things, and we're right on the beach. So we're at a beach club, and then we do a bus tour and look at properties and lots of networking. We have people from all over Canada. So Eastern Canada, Western Canada, Central Canada, some Americans are joining us, and lots of international investors. A lot of people joining have properties in 4, 5, 6 countries already.
Having a challenge just dealing with my 4, 5, 6 properties in Hamilton. I can't imagine different currencies and accounts and
time zones. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Do people bring their kids to these things?
So they can, absolutely. There's a few people bringing their kids. So there's a swimming pool right there, depending on the age of the children. Yeah, there's 2 swimming pools right at the beach club, and we're on the beach as well. So if you're coming as a couple, well, you can go to the beach and take turns. There's not activities planned specifically for kids, but yeah, kids can come, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, my kids are. I'm a bigger swimming liability than my kids. So
There you go. So they
yeah,
can
because
say
our plans to bring the kids because we're all working. We're all working on location. We are not on vacation.
yeah. But you can. A lot of people, I mean, that's what I do here. I'm not relaxing here for 8 months. You can do a lot of business here, and it's in central time. So it's like Alberta if you got lots of clients. During winter, it will be like Saskatchewan time. So 1 hour time difference with Ontario.
Oh, question. Where do you pay taxes to? Do you pay taxes anywhere still?
So right now I'm still Canadian, so I pay taxes to Canada. Yeah. So, but when I leave the Canadian tax residency, not my citizenship, but the tax residency, then yeah, I'll have to pick residency. For now, it would be Costa Rica because I have the most ties to the country. But eventually I can shop for a different tax residency and choose what suits me best.
Fascinating. Okay, so I know you're not an accountant, so we'll just preface that for the listener. So what does that mean? What does leaving your tax residency mean? And then what are you looking for in a new tax residency?
Yeah, so leaving tax residency, if you're American, you can't. That's tied to your citizenship. So Americans, they have to renounce their citizenship, which it's a big deal. So that would be a tougher sell. I mean, some do it. There's a few thousand people each year. But if you're Canadian, it's your tax residency where you pay your taxes is not tied to your citizenship. So a lot of people think, oh, you're going to lose your citizenship. No, what you're going to let go of is the healthcare. So OHIP or whatever province you're coming from. Ontario is 212 days. You can be gone before you lose OHIP. And then there's different criteria. So where do you earn your income? Is it mostly Canada? Then yeah, you still have ties to Canada. Do you still have dependents in Canada, like your kids that are minors? Then yeah, you still have ties to Canada. Do you have a car? Do you have a principal residence? Do you have bank accounts? And then the list goes down. So there's many ways to do it, but it requires planning. You need a good accountant to do that. And if you're an investor, it's not an easy process. Like for me, it's going to be probably 3 to 5 years before it's fully done.
Would you have to sell off your remaining properties in Canada, or it's okay to keep
No,
them?
you don't. You could keep all your investments. The only big one is the principal residence. You can keep it, but you need to rent it out long term or sell it. So I chose to sell it. And that's it. And no cars. You can't own vehicles. So I still have a car in Ottawa for my daughter when she goes back with friends and stuff. So when that's done, then I've got less ties, but I still have my driver's license. I need to get another one. There's all kinds of things you need to work through. So the CRA does not let you go easily, but it is doable if that's what you want to do.
So why the decision to give it up?
You can save a fortune. So instead of paying like 6 figures in income tax, I could pay a lot less. So I could choose like I said, Panama, 5, 10, 15%. Costa Rica is a bit higher. I think 25 is the top income tax you could pay. So that's still much lower than Canada. Dubai, 0%. So if I want to pay no taxes, I could live there. And if I pay no taxes,
and you teach this in your coaching. So
yes, yeah, I teach people how to do it if you want to, but that's for a very niche market. Most people want to invest internationally, and then the rest may be more advanced. It's for a smaller population.
I don't know, man. We sent out our survey on U.S. investing. Like I think it was like 10% of respondents were talking about immigration.
Well, it's bigger than what a lot of people think. Because in Costa Rica, whenever I go somewhere, they're like, "Oh yeah, is there anybody left in Canada? Everybody's moving." I'm like, "Yeah, there's still people."
A lot more of us. And the
Yes.
country's growing like crazy.
Well, that's it. There's people coming, and then I think it's more long-term Canadians that are leaving. The newcomers are, some of them are not staying. I mean, it really depends
Mhm,
what you were sold on and
mhm,
expectations versus reality and opportunities, things like that.
mhm. Fascinating. Oh, and Francois, I prepared you for this question. I'm not a journalist, but I like to say I try to uphold journalist integrity. So so we don't get sued by anyone. I can't name names. Uh, how else do I put it? I think you kind of fell in with the wrong group. I think that's the term. Can I don't know what do you want to say about it. You can even say
Oh,
nothing.
yes. No, I don't want to talk about it. It's in the past. It's good luck for them. That's all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah, I'm
talk
just
to
an
what kind of due diligence you should do before joining any group, mastermind, membership, whatever you want to say.
Oh, yes. Well, of course, I mean, do your due diligence, just like buying. Anything I've said now, like, does not apply for everybody. Yeah, like I said, if you're American, a lot of this doesn't even work for you.
Hmm.
If you're Canadian too, might not be the best situation. Oh, we got thunder coming in.
That's funny. It looks so sunny behind you.
Yes. No, it's super dark actually. Yeah, weird lighting. So, yeah, I would say do your due diligence. Make sure you do a bit of background check before signing up with a mentor.
Hmm.
Ask for references, and ask around, not just references, because most people, if they're smart, they're going to give you a good reference.
Yeah.
So if I ask about Erwin, oh, what are your references? Well, he's going to give me names of good friends and people that will put in a good word. Ask around others, and then yeah, make an informed decision.
Hmm. Excellent answer. And I'll just add, listeners, if you're a listener, you can feel free to reach out to me on this social media, DM me,
Sure.
and I'll gladly reference check people for you.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Ask someone. And currently I'm starting a group with my friends in Ottawa. It's called the Capital Connectors. And again, we have no agenda. It's more just networking. There's no teaching, nothing like that. It's just business networking, not even just real estate, but business networking.
Wait, how are you gonna do that over Zoom? Or are
No,
you gonna come back to town?
We're hosting events everywhere. So we started in Ottawa, but now I have one in Costa Rica on November 6th
Hmm.
and in Dubai probably in March. So it's kind of everywhere. And capital as in money or the national capital, and then connectors, networking. That's all. That's all it
Okay.
is. So we're keeping it very simple.
And where can people get more information on?
We have a Facebook group, Capital Connectors. It's like a pink logo, so it's like hot pink. It's hard to miss. And we're working on a website. You can also find us on Instagram, Capital Connectors.
And then your own business? Where can people
So my own
learn more
business,
about investing offshore real estate?
yes, wineandrealestate.ca. So I kept the .ca.
You don't have to give that up to give up your tax residency.
That's it. So for the next 3 years or whatever, I'm keeping it. Then I'll have to switch probably
Do you really?
.cr.
Do you really have to give up the .ca?
Yeah,
'Cause
you can't
I
if
remember
you're
on
not
GoDaddy, I
Canadian.
just keep clicking. Yes, 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 yes. I don't know
No,
why.
if you have no, well, I'll still have ties to Canada, but at some point the .ca is only for Canadians. So at some point you can't have it. So
Oh, you can partner with a Canadian then.
yeah, that's it. Oh, my corporation is Canadian, so I could keep it.
And you can keep your corporation if you even if
Yeah.
you leave your tax residency.
Yeah, it's just that your corporate taxes go up. So you're more at 25 because you have no personal tax. So they just capture the taxes in your corporation.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been
A whole
enlightening
new
for
world.
me.
Yeah, oh, good.
I hope the listener finds this just as enlightening. Francois, thank you so
Yeah.
much for doing this. Hope you enjoy Costa Rica. Hopefully it doesn't rain too bad. Oh, I
Nope.
saw the lightning. Was that lightning flash?
Yes, yeah, it's getting scary, but there's usually a few minutes and then it goes away. So
Right. Yeah, but your scary is not hurricane scary.
no, 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 it's just very loud thunder, really loud.
Yeah, whatever. It's warm.
That's
It's gonna snow here soon, so I have no
oh
pity for you.
wow.
Francois, thank you again.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. The link's also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.